What is going on, everybody? Hope you guys are doing well. My name is Somesh and I'm an active day trader from last 6 years, full-time day trader probably from last 4 years. In this video, I'm going to go over the plan that I will be watching for next week. So what's the goal that every single weekend that you need to do is you need to sit down and make a plan for the next week so you can filter out some of the names that you will watch or you will not watch for the next week. It just helps you in, like, for example, if you only have like two screens, right? On one screen you have your broker open, on the other screens you're watching like 20 different charts. It's gonna be very, very hard to kind of find the best trade that you should be trading at that given time, right? So instead, what you need to do is you need to filter the names down to 2 or 3 or 4 names that you can watch for the next week, right? And this video gonna be a total different video than whatever everybody else makes. I'm not saying anybody else's videos are bad, sweet, whatever they do, but the video, why this video will make sense is it will just be different because I am actually going to make my plan with you. So I'm gonna, like, literally, I'm gonna just put this recording on. I'll explain why I'm watching this certain setup and why I do not like this certain setup, and we'll try to filter down the name out of the 10 stocks watch list. We'll try to pick like 3 or 4, and I'll tell you why I like this and what are some of the names that I like to watch every single week, and the theory and the mindset behind all these. Alright, and you'll also kind of see how I make my plan in first place, which is pretty freaking cool, right? Alright, so what we're doing here is these are the names that I trade every single day. There is no other name that I trade other than this: SPY, QQQs, Apple, AMD, Amazon, Meta, Microsoft, Nvidia, Tesla. I trade SPX, but I always watch SPY's chart when I'm trading SPX. Okay, with that is clear, these are the only names. Now you might be like, but why? Why don't you trade something that is moving? Or, why only stick to these names? I know how these names move. This is why I like to stick with these names. I know how SPY moves. I know how Apple moves. I know how Nvidia moves. I know how Tesla moves. I know how these names move. Right? It makes my life way easier because I'm already prepared. I know what sort of level they get reject at. Like if Nvidia is going to 900, I kind of know that how it's going to react around 900. Is it going to break the first time? Does it have a habit or nature to break the first time? Which is why I always tell everybody that you only need like about 8 or 9 or 10 names in your watch list to make all the money that you need to make, right? But what people do is they kind of always stay open to every single trade idea, every single trade, and it doesn't work. I like to keep things super simple. These are the only names that I trade every single day, day in and day out. There will be occasionally, very rare, that I'm looking at something only if there's no setting up in these names. Because I got bills to pay, right? I gotta take a trade. I gotta find a trade so I can take a trade, and if there's no trade setting up, I'm looking for a trade. But that's the only time that I'm looking for something else. But usually about every single day, there will be like 2 or 3 trades setting up on these names, which is pretty good. And you only need 1 trade a day to make boatloads of money, right? So let's go over how I do my analysis, how I look at the charts over the weekend, and I'll explain as we go. All right. So the first things first, let's go over SPY, because SPY is one of those names which you have to kind of chart. It doesn't matter if you like to trade it or not. You have to chart it every single weekend. The reason is SPY consists of a lot of names which out of these lists. Like this list, Microsoft being the biggest name, then Apple, then Nvidia. Microsoft, I think, makes about 6% of SPY. Apple makes about 5% of SPY. And you have to watch this because if Microsoft rejects, SPY is going to reject. If SPY reject, Microsoft's going to reject. Or there's big chances it can reject, right? So the first thing that I do every single week, all right, I delete all the drawings from my charts. All right, if you have any drawings on the charts from like levels or anything from the last week, you need to get rid of it. That's the first thing. All right, I did already. I got rid of all the levels from every single chart. Now we're here. All right, now we need to make a plan. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to go on a daily chart. Best thing, go on a daily chart. I'm on a daily chart now. This is done. Okay. The next thing is, which is 2 things actually, divided into 2 things. First is levels. Second is trend lines. Okay. Levels means support and resistance lines, and trend lines means just trend lines. Pretty sure. All right. Pretty straightforward. All right. Let's look at SPY now. The first thing that I do, I draw levels. let's see what's happening on a bigger picture. Zoom out a little bit. What's happening on a bigger picture? Okay, we been in an uptrend from October 27th to literally went from 410 all the way up to 524. And then this has been the biggest rejection that we have seen in this whole period, right? Pretty nuts. This rejection went from 525 down to all the way down to 495. Cool. Now, first thing that I love to do is when I'm drawing levels, I like to see if there's any whole numbers like 500, 550, 600, 650, 700. If there's any critical levels which are like big zone levels that are happening nearby. So in this case, we have 500 levels sitting right there. So what do? We mark the 500. Okay, now things get a little bit clear. Okay, we tried to break 500, but we couldn't. We broke like for a couple of days, and then we retested, like we went back up and we retested this, and now it looks like we're bouncing. Okay, sweet. It bounced, sweet. That looks good. The green candles have more volume. This is all good. Now let's look at what's the next level that the prices can reject at. So I like to draw three levels towards the upside, 3-ish levels towards the downside. That's it. This makes my life super simple. I always watch SPY and QQQs every single week. Okay. Now let's see if we can find 3 levels for SPY for the upside. The first level kind of will go here. Like, think about it. We broke this 512 right here. Then rejected, bounced, rejected. Quite a lot happening around here. You see this? Alright, 512 being one critical level. And I love whole numbers. If my level is sitting at 511.95, I'll change it to 512. I love whole numbers. Alright, 512 is done. After 512, what do we see? I kind of see this roughly around probably a level around here. I'll explain why. Okay, why? The price broke, got rejected here. Then again, we got kind of big rejection. Tried to break, nope, couldn't. And then again, rejection right here, right? Again, bounce, rejection, or a bounce, reject. Okay, this is a level now, 515.39. Can we just make it 515.5? In my books, yes, you can. This is done. Okay, what else are we missing? Is there a level in the middle? It kind of looks like it's not very clear, but of course it looks like there's a level in the middle. Why reject right here? Kind of, yes. Bounce, reject. A lot of stuff happening in this around this zone. Okay, we'll mark 514 as well, just in case. Okay, now this is this is the level, and then now we need 3 levels above this. The next one would be roughly around this price point. Okay, right here. Why? Last time when we were trading around this, we went up, rejected, reject. Then we finally broke out, held above this for a minute, then bounced off this, and since then it's been playing around. So 517.22. I'm just gonna make it 517 because that sort of trader I am, right? 517. Okay, now I have 3 levels. First level being if it breaks out of this, it can head up to this. Sweet. But what about the downside? Now let's see if we can find some levels for the downside. First level would be right here. Okay, the reason last time when we were trading around here, we had a few rejection, bounces. Even here other day we had some kind of a hard time. 508.5 being a little bit of a critical level, so we'll mark this, right? After that we have this level 506. Just recently, what happened? We were kind of having a hard time around here. Like, if you ever have a hard time making levels, you can always just go to the line chart right here. Okay, go to the line chart. It will make life super easy. Like, I'm having a little bit of a hard time. I don't know, man. I don't know exactly where the level could be. Now, this tells me 505 is this critical level. Look at this. A lot of rejections or bounces. But if I want to just double check, I don't know, for some reason, I can just go to the line chart and now things get clear all of a sudden. Right? So now I can be like, okay, this level is critical. Why? Because it bounced off and it got rejected. Sweet. I can always adjust these levels a little bit later when I go back to the candlestick chart. But for now, right, let's go back to the candlestick chart and see what did we see on a line chart that we didn't here? Okay, so this looks like actual strong level. So let's adjust this to 506, right? Why reject, 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 bounce, reject, reject? There's so much happening. Now this 505 can be a critical level as well, even though this doesn't show up on a line chart, but we can clearly see that last time it was having a very hard time around here. So let's mark that, 505. Okay, 506, 505, and then why did we get this level as a level on a line chart? Where did this level come from? 503.5, right? Okay, it comes from here, from April 25th. Let's see. April 25th. Okay, we had a hard time a little bit here. Then bounce off here, reject off here. Sweet. Even in the past, we got rejected and bounced. All right, that makes sense. Now, this is SPY. SPY's done. Now, if SPY breaks out of this zone, these are the levels it can head to. If it started moving towards the downside, after this point, these are the levels it can head to. But this is only first thing that we have done. The second thing that we need to do here is trend lines, right? Let's quickly go over and have a look at the trend lines. And always zoom out when you're trying to draw a trend line, okay? Okay, from this point, we have a trend line sitting on the bottom, right? Bang. All right, at this point, do we have somewhere around right here? Okay, this looks good. What else do we have here that I'm not able to see? Sweet. Okay, so also I kind of see a level on the top as well. Like this is a support line just in a trend line, right? It went, bounced off this, bounced off again, bounced off again. Okay, sweet. Now what do we see? Recently we bouncing off the support level, right? The trend line, it's a support level, right? So think of support and resistance as like the floor and ceiling of the house. Like you sitting on the floor right now, right? So this is where your chair is, probably watching the video or whatever. This is the floor. The ceiling, the top, is above you, right? And this is support because it's not letting you go underground. And this is resistance because even if you throw something, it will hit that and come back. If you throw something hard enough, it might break out. And if you throw something hard enough, it might break the floorboards and go under the house, right? That's basically the point here. If something breaks out of this support very hard, that means it can drop, right? But now, for now, we are bouncing off it, which is cool. Other thing that I see is a trend line on the top. Let's see if actually this looks good. Okay, what happened here is 1 second, 3, 4, 5. Okay, quite a few touches, but at this time, this was a resistance. This was the ceiling at the top. At this time, on last Friday, we broke out of the ceiling. Cool. Now, what does it look like? It broke out of the ceiling. It can keep on going, right? Personally, I think it can keep on going. Why would it stop? It broke out of the critical level. If it keeps breaking all these resistance points, it can keep going. But also, we need to watch this. But this is the theory behind this, right? There's a trend line, and it can break out. Sweet. Now this is SPY. SPY is done. So we're watching SPY. Let's mark this. Next is QQQs. Now, if you're already getting bored of this video, man, I don't know. I haven't got nothing to tell you. All right? You're like, oh yeah, bro, I haven't got time to fucking watch the whole thing. Man, if I have time to do this whole thing, and you do not have time to watch this whole thing, and you want to compete in the market against me, good luck. I wish you good luck. All right. On QQQs, the first thing that I see is there's multiple touches of this zone right here. Okay, so what I do, I grab my tool and I just drew that little zone where the price has been rejecting quite a lot. Now this zone is quite wide. We went from 446.75 up to all the way to nearly 450. But that's a zone. That's what we need to watch. Toward the downside, there's also a zone right here, like holding really pretty freaking nicely, but we can kind of use just levels for this. First level that I see is right here. Boom. Reason, we have this 434. Okay, it's 434. What happened around 434 last time was we broke out and we bounced off of quite a few days in a row. Even another day we got rejected off this heavy, but Friday we broke out of this, which is good. Sweet. After this, what levels do you see? Let's draw some levels towards the downside, and we'll draw some levels towards the upside. Okay, downside, the first level that I see is this 428, just straight away. Why? Because got rejected here, reject, looks good, sweet. Then we have this probably around this 424 level. No, quite wide zones, but this is what we have. Then we have 420.5, let's say. Okay, from here, from this point and this point. Alright, this is sweet for now. Let's see the upside though. First level that I kind of see is roughly here. Look at this. Last time when we were trading around this, around here, we bounced off this one zone quite a few times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Finally broke, and now we're approaching that zone again. Sweet, that's marked. What else? Now I'm having a little hard time finding a level in here. So let me go to the line chart. Make my life a little bit easier. First level being right here. So anywhere that we see a little bend on the line, you can just draw level there, and you can adjust these levels a little bit later when we go on a candlestick chart. Okay, make life a little bit easier. So this is done. Then we have kind of roughly here, and then this. That's it, right? Now let's go to the candlestick chart and adjust this. This level can move a little bit lower. Why? One wick right here, second wick right here, third, 4. Okay, sweet. Let's make this 430. It's 438.08. Let's make this 438. This is done. Next one is, I know there's so much happening here. Even I'm having a hard time finding levels because it's so much happening here. We're going back in the chop factory. So good luck trading, man. It might turn up just like crappy market, because it's been like, I remember this time it was super choppy. 440 being a critical level, reject, bounce, reject, bounce, reject. There's so much happening. 440, and below that we have this 442 level. Done. Now we have levels for the upside, we have levels for the downside, but the downside levels are quite further away. I know they're quite further away, but if we break below 428, it might be nice. You can also set up another level roughly around this 430, right? Yeah, 430 roughly, because had a hard time even in the past, had a hard time. Sweet. Now I'm done with the levels, right? 434, 436.5, 438, 440, 442, and the downside as well. Now what do we need to do? We need to see if there is any trend line forming that we missed. The first trend line is right at the bottom, that I clearly can see, right? This is a trend line on the bottom. I clearly can see. Okay, this is done. What else? Kind of a similar stuff that we had on SPY. This, but there's a couple touches, not many, but also I don't know. Maybe there's a little trend line here, a little bit. Yeah, there's about 3 touches. 1, 2, 3. Yes. Okay. So now these are the. Now I know the charts do not look very nice because of this, which is why I always try to just remove a trend line which I'm no longer kind of paying attention to. For example, I'm not really paying attention to this. It already broke, so I can just get rid of this. I'm not really watching this. It already bounced off this, right? Let me just remove this, right? Now what happened? I have clean charts. I have clean charts with some levels and a trend line that might be a trend line moving forward on my charts. It's just real estate of the chart. Like, that's real estate, right? You don't want just mess on your charts. Only levels that you know why you put those levels. So QQQ is done. Apple, I just don't like trading Apple recently, so I'm not even gonna chart it. Fuck it. Nah, I can't do it. Fuck Apple. Alright, next goes AMD. Okay, AMD has been in a downtrend. If you look at this, from all the way up to, like, this is recent, couple months, right? This is recent. 2 months ago we were trading at 230. Fuck, crazy. Okay, so first thing that we need to do is we need to mark the level, which is the big 150. Okay, let's mark this 150. Then we see what happens. 150 is done. Like, we have a gap to be filled. Like, this is a gap because of the earnings. We gapped down. It might be interesting if we get above this price point of 151.5-ish, right? Move towards probably get gap fill, but we still need to see some levels in the middle. And if you ever have a hard time finding levels, you can just go on an hourly chart. Like, there's not enough data for me to kind of draw a level right here. Let me just go on the hourly chart, and this is only when I'm doing over the weekend. All right, on the hourly chart, you can kind of see a little bit more in detail what's happening around these lines. Above this, we have a rough time around this level, and after that, we had a rough time around this level. Okay, we have 3 levels. Okay, rough time around here. Boom, 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 done. Okay, this is done. Now the downside, which might be nicely done if we do on a daily chart, because over the weekend, also you need to adjust these levels as well, right? 152.8, make it 152, 152.81, 152.8, 153.99, 154, 155.36, 155.5. All right, make life super easy. Towards the downside, I'm not really watching it toward the downside. I feel like it might be bouncing off, but just in case if it goes down, hey, 146 probably the level. I know, quite further away, but that looks nice based off this. Below 146, we have probably 144 having a hard time last time, and then 142. But it's not looking the best for me right now to watch. I don't know. So if I'm not very sure, what I do is I just make it orange. Alright, because I need to come back to it. Let's go and do Amazon. Nope. Amazon's not cutting it for me either, like Apple. It's moved slow, it doesn't pay very well, the pullbacks hurt a little bit more. Nope, not happening. Meta. Meta is nice. Yo, Meta is nice. I like Meta. The first thing that you need to mark is 450. Just mark 450. Freaking huge level 450. 450 is done. Then we have this huge gap, which needs to be filled up until this 473.85 or whatever. 450 has been broken Friday. The volume's pretty shitty, but if we can hold above this and break above this 455 level, I personally think, yeah, if we break above this 455 level, I personally think we might head up to probably this area right here, 461.65. Now, of course, we'll adjust this in a minute, but this level and then probably even 470. Now, there might be a level that we missed in the middle, 465, 465, 466, but these are levels. Now, let's adjust these levels, all right? 455 break, I want to watch 460 is important, but based off the charts, we have 461.5. Right, and then we have 466 just based off the charts, and then we have 470. Okay, this is all done. Now Meta towards the downside, if we got rejected, not any critical level has 2 ways how they can go. One, it can just break and go. Other one, it breaks and then fails and just keeps on going lower. Whichever gonna happen, we're gonna watch. That's why we watch both levels towards the upside and downside. Now Meta towards the downside will be simple. Alright, I'll pay attention to if 450 fails and probably get below this 444 level. Probably for a small move, like 444, 5555. These levels are important, alright? Algorithms love these numbers. 444 level, if that breaks, probably for a day or two, we might head down a little bit, like 440, 435, 436. Yeah. Make sure you follow me on Instagram, by the way, because I will be dropping every single day. I make a video of what I'm watching for the next day. Kind of, it gets you prepared for the next day as well. All right, 440 is done, and then you are sitting at 432-ish. And by the way, yeah, my Instagram is K capitals, KAYCAPITALS. Like, and this. It's verified. Has my beautiful face on it, so you'll be able to see. Meta, these are the levels that I see. I have 444, 440, 432 towards the downside. I like this. I really do. So I'm watching Meta. All right. Next goes Microsoft. Microsoft's not gonna cut it either. This Apple, Amazon, and Microsoft, they move too slow. Like lately, it's been moving very, very slow. Look at the size of these candles. How the heck I'm gonna make any money? The size of these candles insanely small, right? And there's not enough volume. This stuff, no. Lately, I haven't been trading Apple, Amazon, Microsoft a lot. Anyway, let's look at Nvidia. I like Nvidia because nearly very closely sitting to 900 mark. I'm sure now you know how much I obsess over these whole numbers, right? 900 critical, and after 900, last time when we broke 900, you're always gonna see what happened the previous time. Last time when we broke 900, we went up to this, like look at this number, right? It went up to 907.39, then it went to 906.13, 906.34, but every single time, mostly we touched at least 906. So let me just mark 906 because at least it went to 906. I need to be careful of this 906, right? All 3 times last time, it at least touched 906. Once we broke 907, but 906 is at least. Okay, this is done. Then we have, now I'm having a hard time finding levels. Let me just go to the line chart really quick. 906, line chart says 920. Ooh, nah, that's too wide. Probably this wick right here that I see, 913-ish. Yeah, 913. Yeah, this day we got rejected on March 28th of this, very critically. So I'll watch that. Also, this particular day we didn't break above this. We got a wick right here, so probably I'll watch this 920 mark as well. Alright, 920. Come on, man. 920. Okay. 3 levels towards the, this is 1 level. After this, 3 levels we have done. 4 levels done. Now, if we do get rejected here, let's see if there's any trend line, bigger trend line forming. Not that I see anything. Nothing really. Like this trend line is going crazy. Nothing. Then we have this. Not really. It's quite further away. There's no point watching a trend line which is $100 away from it. You know what I mean? We have earnings coming out in 18 days, which is cool. Probably lately it has a little trend line. Last quite a few touches, 1, 2, 3, 4, which is quite further away. Again, quite further away. But we'll mark this on our charts. Downside, first level I see is right here. We had a hard time breaking this. Alright, 860. We have a very hard time breaking this. Look how many times we held this 860 level. So let's watch 860 straight away, okay? Next would be, you know what I'm gonna say, 850. Just because it's 850. So no questions asked. Alright, let me mark 850. Then we'll mark this 840. Basically what's happening is every $10 move. We had a level at 860, then 850, 840, what, 830? Boom, there we go. Actually 832. Bounce, bounce, reject, reject, bounce, and bounce. 832. Mark this on our charts. Now we have levels upside and downside. Alright, I'm watching Nvidia too. Green. Alright, sweet. Then last one comes Tesla. Man, Tesla has been super choppy. Hey, look at this. Last few, oh my god, look at the size of these candles. The size of these candles are like this small, the daily candles. That means intraday it's been trading like this. Or if it picked the uptrend, then it picked a downtrend, then it picked the uptrend. That's why we have a wick on the top and wick on the bottom. You see what I'm saying? There's a huge wick on the top, huge wick on the bottom. Very hard to trade. Lately it's been doing this a lot. Look at this. Right? I just want to see a huge break, probably above 200. Now, if it gets above 200, I'll be interested. Now, I know it's quite further away, $20 away. But if it breaks 200, I'm interested, move towards 204. 204, probably move towards this level of 208. Otherwise, and I'm not really interested in this. Unless it makes an intraday move, you know, you catch a move here and there. But that's not like big move. That's like 10% profits. I'm happy. But big moves, probably these are the levels that I'm looking for. Not even downside. I'm not gonna trade it. When I have beautiful setups like SPY, QQQs, Meta, Nvidia, this doesn't cut it. So I'll keep it orange. AMD and Tesla, I'll be watching them, but they are orange, right? Like AMD chart. Look at this. Too much happening. But the charts that look good are SPY, Meta, and Nvidia. All right. This is how I make my watch list for the week. This is how you see me break down when I'm making a video on my Instagram. This is the time that goes behind it. Now I know it took me 30 minutes. I think over the weekend you can at least do 30 minutes, right? And it's so simple. Like, I know it might be confusing if you're just starting. It might be confusing why the level went there, not here. I get it, totally understandable. And it is a little bit confusing initially. But after a while, when you've been trading for a while and you know how certain levels react, and I've been trading these names from the last 5-6 years, I know how certain levels react on them. It makes my life a little bit easier because I just know, okay, Meta reacts to 450. How are you going to react? Nvidia reacts to 900, how are you gonna react? SPY reacting to 500, how are you gonna react? When I say react means how are you gonna break? Is it gonna break the first time? Is it gonna reject the first time and then break? You see what I'm saying? The little tactics, the little strategies, the little loopholes, the systems, the frameworks you learn over time. And yeah, this is how we do it, and this is how we make a level and levels, and this is how you trade. Alright, now I'll be watching this for the week, and I hope you learned something from this. And make sure, if you want to watch a full, like probably like hour and a half, how I day trade, how I day trade and make all the money, there will be a course probably right above this, or maybe on that corner right there. Click that, and if you want to learn from me, maybe there's a link above me. Click that, and I'll see you later. Peace.